Is the stream up?
Yep.
Awesome. All right. So we're going to get started in just a sec. While we're waiting for our first presenter to get set up, welcome to NextHop, and welcome to our first Tech Talk of the 2018 fall semester. That's where we are. Yeah. So we're going to go through a couple talks. We have one from Connor about LaTeK, one from John, and then
Saltzman. Michael.
Yeah, one more from Michael. Yeah. And then we might have another thrown in, possibly. We'll see. So,
Just do it like this.
You ready?
Yeah, I will just scroll down.
Awesome. So, click this on. I'm not doing it for you.
No?
Nope.
Sound good?
Yeah.
All right. Duplicate. All right. So I'm going to be telling you a little bit about LaTeK, and if the demo gods in our favor, we will be doing a short demo on Overleaf. So, LaTeK, a better way to write stuff. Alternate presentation titles include "Your resume looks like." Can I swear?
Yeah.
Your resume looks like shit. Here's how to fix it, and other variations, just sub-in synonyms. So, step one: how to pronounce LaTeK. This is a point of contention. For a long time, I pronounced it latex. This is not how you should pronounce it.
Are you here for the
If
Tech
you-
Talks?
If you okay, if you're working on a presentation in LaTeK the night before I don't know, like your math I had a project for Calcutta, right? And I spent a few hours working on our final presentation. If I went to class the next day and said, "Oh man, I'm so tired, I spent like 7 hours in latex last night," people are going to get a little concerned. Wikipedia says that it was intended by its developer to be pronounced similar to Locke or Bach. I have no clue how people are going to pronounce LaTeK like Bach. Leslie Lamport, I think one of the developers of LaTeK, said that he doesn't want to tell people how to pronounce it, so it's kind of up for you guys to figure it out. Here is the continuation of Leslie Lamport's quote. Since pronunciation is best determined by usage, not fiat, TEX is usually pronounced tech, making LaTeK and LaTeX the logical choices. But the language is not always logical, so latex is also possible. So, how do you write LaTeK? It depends on your operating system. It depends on what you have installed. If you have Emacs and you want to use org mode, go for it. If you have Windows and you want to download a massive program to write some simple text file, go for it. It's really up to you. So some recommendations that I have if you're on Windows, I like to use Text Studio. Then I found out about Overleaf, which is an online LaTeX editor. It has a ton of packages, it has a ton of presets already. It's really nice to use. It makes compiling your LaTeX documents very easy, very simple. You just grab a template somebody else wrote and go from there. Oh, yeah, and feel free to message me if you have any problems with LaTeX. I'm pretty bad, but I will try my best to help you. You know, that's college. Why should you use LaTeX? Your Word documents probably suck. It looks great. Look at that font. Just doing LaTeX, like how it looks to write, looks a lot better than Microsoft Word 2016 Office 365. Technically, you should be able to make nice looking templates and then just kind of copy and paste information in as you need them, right? Back in high school, I had some default templates for what was it? It was like book reports or chapter reports. So like a list of definitions that I would just copy the new thing in, a list of key questions and answers, and it looked beautiful. It was really easy, and I didn't need to worry about formatting. You can do that in Word too, but I'm here to talk about LaTeK. I'm going to let that one speak for itself. You don't need to really know how to write LaTeK in order to write LaTeK because it is a markup language. You don't need to have a high level of skill. You can just kind of Google everything and stumble your way through it. That is how I made this presentation. It has fantastic math formatting. If you are doing anything in science, like you're doing chemistry, or you're doing biology, or you're doing math, or pick anything sciencey, if it's in STEM, you should probably be writing it in LaTeK or text files. That's a nice map. Look how pretty f of x looks. You know? I always, I wondered how my, I guess, math teachers in high school would do f of x with those curly things, because you can't do that. It doesn't look nice. But in LaTeK, it's pretty simple. There are a lot of weird things about LaTeK. Period. Full stop. It's confusing. Not really a fan of some of the hacky workarounds you need to do. For example, double quotes. If you're using the key right next to enter or wherever else you have it mapped, it will not look correct. If you notice right here, there's 2 double back quotes. Right. Yes. There we go. You need to use a back quote, like I don't know what that would be called, grave, on the tilde key. You need to use that and then a single quote to actually get quotes to look correct. There are special characters that you can't use because LaTeK is a markup language, right? This makes sense. There are some key things that LaTeK tries to format. You can get around this by using this command right here. There are probably other ways to get around it depending on what you're trying to do. This is something I noticed as I write LaTeK a lot during this presentation. There is no space after LaTeK. Whenever, I'll show you during the demo, to type or to get that nice formatted LaTeK right here, you do \LaTeK and it'll kind of copy and paste in. So you can manually add a space by adding a // Someone correct me, is that a //
Backslash.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. By adding a / right after. Here's a gist. Oh, that's ugly. That is really zoomed in. Why is that so zoomed in? That's a good point. All right. So you guys can go to gist.github.com/cnnrshd if you want to see this, because it's not looking nice right now. Oh God. Oh no. So are there any questions before I move to the demo? Cool. Now I have no plans for this demo. So it is, oh, okay.
And you're in Edge searching in vain. I knew you were the Windows guy.
This is a stock. I just made a new user because I was not going to use my personal account for the presentation laptop. So you go to overleaf.com/LaTeK, templates, and you just search for what you want to do. Let's say resume. And I don't know. That one looks nice. Open as template. Oh man. Oh man.
Womp, womp, womp.
Negatives of using a bare sign in.
Do you want me to?
I'll just pull up LastPass on my phone.
I can pause it, I think. It's not a me problem if it is.
Yep. Okay. Well, I signed in with my Google account. Yeah. Heck. All right. Well, that's not working.
Good idea. Stream's doing its thing.
Oh no. Sorry, I apparently used LastPass's auto-generate password, so it's ugly. Fantastic. Okay, so here's what Overleaf looks like whenever you open up a template. Something to keep in mind, this is a template. Please make sure to change information like your name or where you went to school. Did that actually happen?
Yeah, so at the top of my resume there was a little blurb about, you know, with your, whatever it's called.
Objective?
Synopsis or whatever. Yeah, objective, that's the right word. And I left the filler text at career fair.
Oh,
And about 10 resumes with filler text for the objective.
that's terrible.
And I wonder why I don't have a job.
So, is that big enough for everyone?
That's what she said.
Go bigger.
What's that?
Go bigger.
Go bigger?
Yeah. Perfect.
Cool.
You've got an electrical engineering degree, Connor?
You see, this is actually Brian Ellers. This is not me, it says right there. Or I can show you the name. Shit. Right. I can't. I actually can't highlight it. The pop-up's blocking me.
You can highlight it on the LaTeK part of the code.
Yeah, I could. So we can change this to Owen.
Yes. Can we call that guy?
And then
Do a live
recompile.
demo?
No.
And now it says Owen.
Oh, man.
Oh, that's something
It's
to keep
already
in
better
mind.
than mine.
Whenever you're editing LaTeK, you will need to recompile in order to view. You can actually change this to autocompile on Overleaf, which you might be able to do in Emacs or Vim or insert editor here. However, why do that whenever you can use Overleaf and everything's already there? You know, it's beautiful. Bachelor's of, yeah, we'll leave that Bachelor's of Science.
Thanks.
Expected graduation date, just to demonstrate the auto recompile.
That's pretty generous.
I had 10 years.
This is Owen.
There you go. Perfect. And then maybe I'll pass it.
Computer science minor. That's bold.
University of Iowa. What are you doing here?
It has Ostracized. I need to escape to the bar line.
So then, I guess, lists. Do you guys want to know how to do lists? I can't say that because I have a list.
What does a list look
So,
like, Connor?
A list in LaTeK, you start with a begin itemize, and then you do dash item. You can also do a, I'm going to actually open a brand new document if I can figure out how to do that. No, that's adding a file. I don't want to do that.
Oh, it's your Tech Talk presentation. You should
Oh
open
yeah,
that.
yeah. I can open my Tech Talk presentation. You can write slides in LaTeK. That's how I wrote this. Again, I copied this presentation from someone else because Overleaf has a ton of templates. It's beautiful. So I guess something. I'll scroll down to the list. Okay. So on the left-hand side, we have begin itemize, and then end itemize. Within here, we have the items. Each item corresponds to a bullet point. You could also add something like wiki, which is the name or the like a bolded thing. It corresponds to the bullet point.
But Connor, what if I don't want a bullet point?
Well, if you don't want a bullet point, you can probably, I don't know, blank. Will blank work? Yes,
Wow.
blank will work. What you could also do is paragraphs. If you are disgusting, you can just type right here. You could also wrap this in a paragraph tag if you have paragraph syntax. You know. Now, something to keep in mind is
Why is the default thing like that arrow like a regular Pokemon?
that is based on the theme. This is a theme that I stole from someone else.
Can we make a dark theme, Connor?
I will look one up because I know that I saw this. I'm not joking. I was going to use a cool. I don't want to search my projects. Give me the templates. No? Okay. Presentation. I think it was on the second page. There's a cool dark theme presentation that I was going to use, and then I realized it was written kind of in Japanese. I couldn't actually read it.
Was it that dark theme one you just passed?
No, it was. Here we go.
Oh dear.
Yeah. I couldn't actually read parts of it. I tried deleting things, but that didn't really help much. And then I think I got compilation issues. Maybe it's the locale that I don't know if I changed that.
So does it use like a Japanese language?
Right, is it just the
LaTeX?
text?
Oh, no. I think it's still written in English. I just was not going to... Oh. I think I also found one part of it ugly. And it took forever to compile.
Ooh, yeah.
Like, this is not normal. This is a lot of stuff going on in the back end. That, yeah. Yeah, it's taking forever. See, this is one of the reasons I didn't end up using this cool dark theme template. Okay. I think something else important to show you guys is how math works. I'm not going to bother opening that. New project. I don't know. Homework assignment.
Look at that.
Wow.
Wow.
Understanding the derivative. Huh. It's almost like people use this for math.
Wow, that looks frightening. It brings me back to my high school days. That's not.
Wait, didn't you do derivatives in calc?
That worksheet template is spot on.
Look at that. Look at that beautiful graph. So, How do you do a graph in LaTeK? Let me tell you, it's painful. It's probably better than doing it in Word, though.
Oh God.
Yeah. See, there was a point in time when I understood what this meant, and that was during my calc class. You need to use there are two main packages I think you can use. Honestly, if you want to do something, I recommend Googling and going to Stack Exchange or Stack Over. Is it Stack Exchange?
That's one of them.
Okay.
Both.
Okay. Stack noun. So, oh, do they already have equations? Awesome. So, here's an example of an equation. You begin equation. You don't need to do this if you want to have an equation of environment. So you have different context-sensitive, like maybe you want to change the color or the font or something. You can do that by kind of changing the environment. Oh, it's a markup language, you know, if you guys have ever done CSS. Similar concept. Yeah. Cool. I think that's about it. I don't know how to. I'm just going to close this. Here we go.
Do you guys have any questions before kind of result up? Awesome.
Yes.
Make up for my bad writing.
Partially. I'm not joking.
What you can't do with the formatting, you do in the writing, and vice versa.
What if I can't do it?
Have you written your resume in LaTeX? Or
Yeah, I can actually.
LaTeX.
just write my C program for me?
If you are interested, I can go back and pull that up.
I was just curious.
Yeah, I wrote my resume in LaTeK. I think it looks nice.
Awesome. So who's up next? John? Do you want to use your laptop or Connor's?
I can just use that one. It's just on these like Google Sheets or whatever.
All right, come on up.
Yes. It's actually Google's
Oh, you guys, you don't.
No.
You don't pepperoni.
Yeah, I wanted pepperoni.
Sorry,
I had
Connor.
no pepperoni.
I'm sorry, Connor.
It's a big L. You have cups behind you. There'll be a
Cups?
A cups behind you. One of your friends.
Why I hate cheese
Here.
You're actually decreasing.
Yeah, mine can be much
Well, no, the amount that I have grabbed is ever increasing.
Yes. As one should.
LaTeK has security information because it is a programming language.
Firefox.
It's just no. Someone managed
Oh, okay.
to persuade
I will post this for you to log in, and then
to embed a password in the compiled result.
You can do that. That would just be like referencing a file. That would be whatever's running in LaTeX has enough permissions to view.
and then you can just clip this somewhat.
Just like anything else, if you
Yeah,
change
just
something, open the file, because LaTeX can't open the file.
It's easier to just clip it like right on the edge of your jacket, and then it'll pick up the best sound. Yep.
I would say that's someone not actually
Test it for me.
having the password.
Does it still work now?
Say something.
Perfect. Compiler under.
No, every user
Mine's gonna be much shorter.
That's it.
I can't go that much about.
All right, you're the Windows guy.
Well, I mean,
You still get to present. That's the important part.
Don't get me started on choice. I know, but like, you'll have to break them down. But
What a secure looking password.
it's a really stupid one, which is ironic.
It's the C-section. What? It's the C-section.
I just selected the very first one I saw. I was like, yep, yeah, it's good enough.
Alright.
And then C6 is red text on red background, at least C6 101.
It did have at one point, there was a YouTube video with that. I don't know if that messed with anything you mentioned.
We'll figure it out when we get there.
That works. It's only like 20 seconds.
Alright, you are on the stream.
So basically, my presentation was just kind of going card skimmers. First topic I really thought of, I was sort of pushed towards this by a certain someone. What are card skimmers? Malicious card readers that attach to any real payment terminals like ATMs, gas pumps, I don't know, just anywhere you can swipe your card, they're going to be able to go there. Just steals the credit card information from the magnetic strip. How they work, like I said, they pretty much just take the information from the magnetic strip. It's the credit card number, expiration date, the card holder's name. They can pretty much just reproduce a card from that, or just open up even more cards with a different other accounts. Like I said, ATMs, gas station pumps, whatever. The benefit towards it is it's usually not noticed until the overdrafts start or very odd purchases, and they're alerted because the card never actually left their control, so most really wouldn't notice it. The one downside, I guess you could say, to it is that the person who sets it up does have to come back and retrieve the data from the actual card itself, or from the skimmer itself, and then pictures with it just kind of showing like ATMs. They usually have the actual scanner for the card, as well as you can either put like a small camera above the keypad and then just see what the person's pin is, or another way that they've been doing it is just putting down like a fake keypad on top, and that pretty much just logs whatever the person typed in. Random examples that I found, like top left is the keypad that a lot of them have for ATMs now. The top middle one, just kind of showing how intricate some of the designs they have with it can get. The top right one, if I remember correctly, it was on a gas pump, and they actually figured out that apparently it was Bluetooth capable, so they were retrieving information that way as well. And then bottom left is just one that they had found. I think this was just in another store, but you can see how exact everything was. The only thing you can really tell that there was a scanner on top of it was one slightly larger than the other. That's the only really way you can notice it. And then on the right, again, they just had a part that's mounted onto the front of it. The main thing with the scanners is that they don't actually mess with how the actual device works itself, so most people just wouldn't notice it. They would just accept that it's another part of the card reader. And then, so you guys can get involved. Which of these has the scanner?
Both.
Votes of any sort? Raise your hand for the one on the right.
One on the right.
And then for the left?
Both.
The only one that has it is the one on the left, and the way that they figured it out was if you look on the actual card reader on the top right corner of the one on the left, it's a very noticeable color difference compared to the rest of the machine, as well as there's in the actual plastic on the machine, you can see like the arrows for where it would point to put in your card. Seeing as the cover is overlapping it, that's how they ended up figuring out that that part wasn't supposed to be there. But again, showing how you have to be very, very attentive to detail to notice a lot of these. Going on for like what the new ways they're trying to stop this sort of thing is the use of the EMV chips in your cards. A lot of other countries in Europe and Canada also, I believe, have been using the chips for quite some time. The US is kind of sluggish towards getting onto the train to use them, since they're a lot better than the magnetic strips and a lot safer. With that change, they've also gone from skimmers to what they now are calling shimmers. Since with the chip, if I understood it correctly, it's basically you have to have physical contact with whatever you entered into to actually be able to use the card. So on the bottom right here, this is like the new shimmers that people are using that you've actually put into the card reader itself instead of just being on top of it. And in some way, it now reads the chip information. The issue with it still is that the chips themselves have built-in security, so it's not as easy as the skimmers were. And you can see just with the picture of how teeny they are, it's nearly impossible now really to be able to spot the shimmers. So ATM manufacturers and a lot of the newer ones are trying to make just anti-tampering stuff. One of the ways that I saw was they're adding in some sort of a radar device to detect if there's something entered into the card reader itself. But the downside was at like a Black Hat event or something, they already figured out how to use said radar device to take more information from the chips. So the effort was there. Then let's see if the video works. I think this was in Pennsylvania, it said. The guy just how easy it is and quick to install one of the card skimmers. Most of the time it's just distracting the person, and the other one just slips on the device. You'll see him like pull it out of, I guess, a pocket or something, and then pops it right on. And that was it. And now the card skimmer's on. What?
What's the point?
It took me a couple of times of watching it to realize what exactly was going on, but you can kind of see him just like messing with the machine. It looks like he's trying to click it on.
Reaches in his pocket, pulls it out, and up.
Yeah, and then he just clicks it on, I guess.
Nice.
I don't know. He's very nervous during that entire set. But yeah, that just goes to sources. Yes.
So, what would you say to someone, a user, who's using, like, who comes, what would you say to us? What should we do to prevent ourselves from getting?
Like I said, a lot of it just comes to being very attentive to detail, like the picture I had of the ATM with the yellow one. If there's very obvious, colors not matching properly, that would kind of hint that, hey, maybe something doesn't look right. As well as if anything looks kind of loose or shaky, probably best just to be safe and sorry and go somewhere else. Like one of the sources I had here, the LifeLock one was saying basically the same thing of just being very attentive, and if you see parts loose on a machine, most of the time that's not a good sign, then to just go somewhere else.
Do you know if this works with, if their skimmers work with technologies like NFS where you can, or like Apple Pay?
I didn't see anything like that, but I imagine there probably is, and it's or at the very least it's in the works. I mean, for the longest time everyone said about the chips and cards being all safe and everything, and clearly that part didn't work. Really, you would cut down quite a bit just getting rid of the magnetic strips on the cards, but a lot of places, especially in the US, still keep the magnetic swipes, so you have to have it on the cards or else you can't really use your card there. Yes?
Have you seen those like red strips they put on gas station pump readers now? Like the red tape?
I'm pretty sure those are like tampering seals.
Are they anything other than tape though? Is there anything complex to them?
Not really. It's
tape on it.
pretty much
Some of
just-
them have a tamper-evident thing, so it's 2 layers.
Yeah, if you like peel it off.
Yeah, and if you peel it off, you'll get like a void or a text that appears instead of where the tape was.
Yeah, on the bottom right, it has like a little security seal. But yeah, many of the cases is just kind of glorified tape.
Awesome. Any more questions? Cool. Oop. Wait, one more.
Do you think RIT should move to chip if for ID cards to prevent any skimming attacks? Because we love mag stripe around here.
Yeah, It depends, I guess, what exactly they could get on the card. I don't really know on that one.
Your dining dollars.
Yeah, $90.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Technically, that's protected under FERPA. So, if you really wanted to get into it, that's one of the things that could go along with, like, the reason we have 2FA on my courses now.
Not yet. Next semester.
Next semester. But the reason that they put 2FA on Tiger Center and on SIS is because of the FERPA requirements for data protection. And your UID is one of the things that's protected under that same type of law.
Wait, if your UID is protected, you can see that by logging into e-services, and that doesn't require chip factor yet.
Yeah, e-services has two factors.
It doesn't.
It didn't last week. Yeah, SIS and Tiger Center.
It's one of the things that's getting there. I don't know the specifics of the law, and I really should, but it's one of those things that's a multi-step compliance process.
And there's already a lot of backlash with the My Courses stuff. People
Yeah.
aren't happy. They have to do it every time.
Next semester is going to be lots of fun. All right. Thank you, John.
Who's next? Thank you. Next. You can leave.
Stop right now.
Give your pizza back. So
Copyright infringement on the stream.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
we're gonna get demonetized. Are you monetized?
Awesome. HDMI?
Yeah. I don't know. You'll get demonetized. No, you'll get so demonetized that they send you a bill.
Don't them call it.
And then plug in right here. And then just double check to make sure. And then clip that onto somewhere up here. And then if you're going to walk, grab that.
Still got pizza.
And then just talk and say something for me real quick.
Where'd you get this from?
Yeah.
What? Granddaddy's.
Never heard of these.
There's also one at Point.
Oh. So the cheapest?
I mean, it was $56 for all this, completely different.
How much for Salvo?
Look.
All right, guys.
Let's
give it up for the next one.
My name is Michael Saltzman. Today I'm going to talk about my experience at working at Cisco Meraki and how to configure some stuff in Cisco Meraki. We're going to do a live demo and just some simple troubleshooting cases that I went through, some scenarios that I went through. So again, my name is Michael Saltzman. I'm actually a networking major here. It's a major that doesn't exist anymore. Networking and Systems Administration. So yeah, this is what Meraki products look like. They're all cloud enabled. I'm sure you've heard of cloud networking, right? I'm not sure of a raise of hands, who's here ever configured a Cisco device ever? Cool. So I can talk a little bit technical then. So if you've configured a Cisco device before, you've obviously had a lot of very painstaking days of typing things in a million times and typing things out, and it gets really annoying, and configuring things can be difficult. So what Cisco Meraki does is it makes the average person who knows nothing about networking able to configure their network, everything. So it's all a web console, which I will be showing, and there is no actual typing. Well, there is typing like IP addresses and things like that, but there's no like typing up commands at all. It's all networking. I mean, it's all web enabled. So these are their products that I worked on. There are more products in this, but I didn't work on them. So they have access points, just like the ones that you see here. They're security appliance and router. It's an all-in-one inclusive IDS IPS firewall and content filtering and everything like that. And I'll be showing a short thing about how to configure that. And switches. They're security cameras, like you see those little ball cameras. um, in the ceiling. And then they also have mobile device management and IP phones. So just about the internship, you answer calls and emails from actual customers using Meraki products. So interns answer cases from about anyone spending $0 with Meraki up to about $300,000. So we're actually in the lower tiered queues. But some of the $300,000 networks that I troubleshot, it was insane. They're big, you know, lots of VPNs, lots of spanning tree, lots of switch stacks, lots of everything. So you're doing lots of troubleshooting. So for the more complex cases where you're on the phone with the customer and you're unable to resolve the issue over the phone, we recreate the problem, and often there are bugs associated with the problem. And when you recreate it, take Wireshark packet captures and figure out what the problem is. So you deal with a very wide variety of issues, anything from someone hooking up their router for the first time and they need your guidance to set up their topology. And then also a lot of times they'll ask you for recommendations as far as, you know, this is my current topology, what kind of things might you recommend for the future of, I want to expand it. And we'll recommend, we're not salespeople, but if they ask for our recommendation, we'll give it to them. So you do everything from VPNs from one Meraki device to another, to VPNs from a Meraki device to a non-Meraki device, and I'll be showing what a VPN looks like. And OSPF, spanning tree, any other access control lists, any other thing that you could think of in networking, you work on. You also do a lot of wireless troubleshooting cases. So for example, I have a phone, I'm roaming from one AP to another. What's going on that I'm not as fast as I want to be? And you learn how to do things like stress testing a network. If you guys are interested in how to stress test a network, there's a tool that you can look up. It's called iPerf, I-P-E-R-F. And it allows you to stress test your network to where you want. So things that you might want to know before applying to the internship. DHCP, know how DHCP works, the packets involved, and everything that happens from when the client initiates the connection to where you're going. You should know spanning tree, you know, what switch becomes root, what switch you know, is the designated switch. You should know DNS, how a computer resolves an IP address. I'm sure you guys might know that DNS is when you have a website, google.com, and it really translates to this IP and how that works, and what an A record is, or how DNS works. The ping process, to know what happens when one computer pings another computer. It's not just the ICMP protocol. It's everything from, you know, the computer pings, it does an ARP request, it goes to the switch, you know, and what happens in the switch, and if it's inter-network, what happens in the router, as far as what the router does in order to communicate to the other network. So they might ask you questions on the interview to explain to them everything that happens, you know, when you try to print something, or when you are doing anything. You should know, I know it sounds like weird, but you should know the OSI model. They're going to ask you questions about it. And you are going to use it during your job, because literally a customer calls you and they tell you their problem, and every time a customer calls you, it's a brand new network. So you have literally no idea what's going on. So you kind of have to define what your problem statement is, figure out exactly what the problem is, and then work through the issue that way. And then know how the three-way handshake works and how that happens. If any of you guys have questions about any of these, you can talk to me after, and I can ask you questions about it if you want, and I don't mind sitting down with anyone one-on-one if they're interested in this internship. So before I do a demo, I want to go over some of the benefits of the internship, which are really nice. They give you free housing in San Francisco. They pretty decent salary. they give you a free stack of equipment. So all of the stuff that I'm about to show you belongs to me in my personal network, and you get a free stack of networking equipment that you get to work on, and you get a license for up to 3 years. The licensing from Meraki is very, very expensive, so after the 3 years, I'm not going to extend it. But at least I have it for 3 years to play around with and see what I can do with it. Well, you'll see there's not much traffic in my network, so you're not going to really see anything right now because I'm not really using it, but it is pretty interesting. And some other benefits, I would say, it's a really nice area, and it's a generally very open environment and great place to work. And I came in with some prior networking knowledge, but I would say this is the internship where I learned the most about networking, because every day I was coming in and it was a different scenario of what I was dealing with. So here is the Meraki dashboard. So if I actually had clients on my network, which I don't, this would show the progressive traffic, and it would show you the applications in the graph that you're using, and it would show you the list of clients here. And then, so here's their security appliance. So we have a couple panels here. So this is your network-wide panel, and then in the network-wide panel it shows you, for example, the topology. It'll give you a physical layout of what your network looks like. Right now it's probably not going to show anything because I don't have anything, but it's basically just a physical representation of what it is. You can run a packet capture directly from here and export it to Wireshark. So it downloads the PCAP. So you can take a capture on any one of your devices from here and save it. So if you're in I'm sure you guys used Cisco devices before, you can't really do this right now. Event log, that's just logs. Map and floor plan, you can import a floor plan of either Google Maps or whatever you want to import, and put your devices physically where they are in the map. I don't have one right now, but this is what it would look like, and you can import your floor plan and just go in here and add a new floor plan, and you can see how your network would look as a physical layout. Go over group policies a little bit. I'm not going to go over every tab because some of them are kind of useless, but you can add groups as far as you can set for your entire network traffic shaping rules. So I don't know if you guys ever heard of QoS before, but QoS is basically telling the network what traffic is more important than another. So for example, my HTTP traffic is more important than my SSH traffic or whatever it is. So here you can set network-wide traffic shaping rules, and let me see if I can show you guys what it would look like. And you could set it for certain VLANs and certain things like that. I can show you a little bit later because from here I can't really show you, but that you can do policies from here. So this is your security appliance. In the security appliance, you can do everything from here. So for example, if we go to addressing in VLANs, you can set your device as a router or a pass-through VPN concentrator. I'm not going to even explain what that is right now because it's really complicated. But here you can set up static routes and things. So for example, if we add a static route, you just tell the subnet in the NextHop and press update, and it puts a static route in there. So it's a lot simpler than typing IP route on a regular device. And this is where everything is going, in my opinion. That's just, you can set, DHCP scope. So you can set your MX to run as a DHCP server, and you can set subnets. So my subnet right now is 192.168.128.0, and then anyone in my network can get an IP address. You can do things like firewalls. You can set firewall rules. And you can set outbound, inbound rules. So you can, this is like an access control list in a Cisco router where you can set a source and destination IP of what you want to deny or allow, and works the same way as any other access list would work. You can set a site-to-site VPN. So what a site-to-site VPN is, it basically allows you to connect one Meraki device to another device and connect between them. Yeah.
Is it possible to cut off connectivity between Meraki devices by bad firewall rules?
Yes.
Have you done this?
Maybe. So yeah, if you're in your site-to-site VPN, you can select a hub-spoke topology. So your hub is your main VPN provider, and your spokes are the other devices in your network. And if any of you guys want to talk about this more, I'm willing to speak about it. It's just, some of this is a lot more technical than you guys might be familiar with, and some of you might be really interested in this. So if you want to know more, you can feel free to email me or let me know. So we'll go over Active Directory in here. So Active Directory allows you to authenticate users on your network using your Active Directory domain controller. So it will give you a splash screen, and you will type in your credentials that you would use in Active Directory, and you will not be able to access the network at all. No access until you can authenticate using the Active Directory server. So you can set even up to the net, because a lot of times you can access a machine, you can't get on the network until you can authenticate with Active Directory. Traffic shaping. Here you can set your uplinks and how much speed you want to go over these uplinks. And you can set preferences like load balancing, if you want to load balance between your WAN 1 and your WAN 2 connection. So if you have two WAN connections, two ISPs, you can load balance over those. You can set flow preferences for certain traffic. So for example, I know that the traffic from this network is super important, and I'm going to dedicate an ISP just for that traffic. I can set a source network, and then it's going to go out this WAN link. So it's going to, all the traffic for the website is going to go over. And you could set the same thing for VPN traffic. You can also set per client limits. For example, if I only want to allow a certain amount of clients on my network at a time, this would be useful for like a guest network or certain subnets that you may not want. For example, if you know for a fact that this subnet only has 30 users that use it all the time, and you want to make sure it's secure, you can set a client limit for the amount of users that you want to be able to access your network. Here's some the traffic shaping stuff you can do. You can set, like different, this is like way more advanced, but like you can create a new rule, so I'll just like create a new rule here. And you can set a bandwidth limit for certain types of traffic. So here are the different types of traffic, and you can set that to low priority or high priority, and based upon that traffic in your network, you can specify what priority you want. So this is like quality QoS. You can set what you want. So that's pretty much all I want to show for the security appliance. Go over to the switches. The switches are layer 3 switches, so they can also act as routers. Obviously all switches now are layer 3. So this shows my device and the model of it.